Pretty is a six-letter word that can encompass your entire being in its arms. You were born to a mother who wore pain like trees wear their rings, as marks of fierce bravery and battle cries. You almost split her insides open coming out, wailing so hard the plaster cracked, but she grinned and bore it like a champion, even though the walls of her womb felt like one giant cigarette burn that no one cared enough to put out. Pretty is not a synonym for learning how to put together a body that fights itself every day with pocket knives, like assembling letters to form words that flame in the mouth. That's called survival. Pretty is an ugly word. It leaves behind a bitter residue that apologies cannot erase. Pretty is just an excuse for playing darts with a woman's confidence. When told you're not pretty, always remember how your body expanded to fit its widening cage, its blooming hips. How the growing pains were less like pain and more like cracking fault lines. How your body turned itself inside out and spilled over and over again. Getting emptied is not pretty. It is dark and wounding and requires strength enough to move mountains. On your worst days, do not look in the mirror and call yourself pretty. Call yourself trying. Call yourself surviving. Call yourself learning how to get through a day, a week, a month, or a year. Call yourself still learning. Pretty is just 6 letters for lipstick, false eyelashes, combs for hair that never gets tangled. Not for women who earn a victory every day, just managing to exist. When told you're not pretty, do not suck in your stomach. Pretty is a discriminatory word, but having a body that knows what it wants and gets what it wants is not a hate crime. It's a healing hymn. Don't forget how trees shake their last leaves in winter, like they're shedding skin from the old year. Shed pretty. Shed it now. Teach yourself to replace it with heart-wrenching, brilliant, clever, artistic, unique, understanding, fighting, always living. When told you are not pretty, do not fall in love with the ground. Get back up. This is not an apocalypse. This is not the end of the world. A 6-letter word doesn't have the power to burn down every building in sight or freeze the entire world in epic proportions. Your body is not wreckage or refuse, left over from a world on fire. Your body's just fine. Look in the mirror. Tell yourself, pretty is not me. Pretty is an ugly concept. I am more. Say it. Say it.
It will hurt today, and it will hurt tomorrow. But someday, darling, you won't remember the sorrow of loving the boy who ruined you. You might be sad now, but think of the future, when you're in love with a boy who's so very sure he wants you for you. And when you see him 10 years from now, you can tell him the story of how you met the man of your dreams. And when he talks about her, let him know you're still there to make sure his mind is at ease. You're married with kids in a quaint little house. He smiles, looks up, and stares at the clouds. You think, it can't get much better than this. But in the back of your mind, you can still remember that not so long ago, in the middle of December, you still loved the boy who ruined you. And when you see him 10 years from now, you can tell him the story of how you married the man of your dreams. And when he tells you he lost her, let him know you're always there to make sure his mind stays at ease.
Through dead eyes I view the world, senses numb, waiting for a spark to awaken my eyes and make them see the world for all it has to offer. Waiting for a spark to make my ears hear. Waiting for a spark to start a fire in my mind. Allowing me to appreciate all the wonders that surround me. Through eyes half dead I view the world, starting to see small things that come into focus. Starting to stir my sleeping mind and bring everything into a new light. Starting to make my ears hear a soft melody that sings to the innermost reaches of my soul, slowly bringing me into light. Through eyes more alive than dead, I view the world, senses alive and susceptible to the world around me, almost seeing what my eyes have long been denied, almost seeing the beauty in the smallest detail of life in the widest view of the world, almost seeing the colors as bright as the sun and colors as deep as the night, almost seeing the happiness and the joy in a new light, almost seeing the sorrows that surround me but do not consume me, almost hearing the soft melody in my ears and turn into a forceful beat that reverberates throughout my entire being, breaking down any resistance to my new state of mind. Through eyes full of life, I view the world, seeing the veil that once skewed my vision being taken off, seeing the world for what it truly is, a place of beauty, seeing the world no longer through dead eyes.
Dust covers my glass. Fill it up to the brim with whiskey. Spill it over. Let it run out. Blood covers my blade. Fill my arm with cuts. Break the vein. Let it run out. Pills cover my palms. Fill up my mouth. Puke them up. Let it run out. Words conceal my pages. Fill my book. Purge my thoughts. Let it run out. Bullets load my gun. Fill my head. Remove my breath. Let it run out. My body holds my grave. Fill the hole. Take my life. Let it run out.
What will happen to this place when everyone goes away and the dust settles down? What will happen to this place when ivy covers brick and the squirrels chew through the walls? What will happen to this place when floors turn to rot and the shingles tumble off? What will happen to this place when iron rusts red and the weeds take over all? What will happen to this place when forests grow wild and the roof caves in? And what will happen to this place when the laughter turns to echo and the memories begin to fade? What has happened to this place since everyone went away?
I practice cutting my hair with the back to the mirror so I can learn how to remove something meaningful without watching it go, just like I tried to do with you so many months before. Ironic how I spent the whole autumn writing poems about you, just for winter to come and freeze everything over. During the dark nights of the solstice, hitchhiking was my only solace, because inviting my way into strangers' cars was better than going back to that familiar place, somewhere approximately 30 degrees between my left lung and the clearest contours of my heart, where missing someone that wasn't good for me felt like home. Maybe in a past life I picked scabs until they bled and formed more scabs inside the old ones, like matryoshka dolls. Maybe in a past life you were just another wound I had to pretend not to notice since it wouldn't heal properly. Maybe in a past life these wouldn't be angry poems, maybe they'd be love poems instead. But reincarnation doesn't change a thing when all possible lives lead back to love and betrayal somehow. If I believed in it though, I'd wish to come back in the right hemisphere of someone else's brain, because at least then I wouldn't have to think about you anymore.
Hold your blood-soaked hands behind your backs and play your silly game, and watch your surrounding human beings become one singular obliterated soul, lost in the breathed twice already carbon that escapes our mouths as we stay alive collectively. Your lips, so sweet and subtle, so believable, so true. And we watch them move. We watch the sticky, thick, liquidy lies pour between the black blocks of teeth you own. Pretend play that you call trust and liability seeping out of your open mouth, doing unto us an unrepayable favor. Destruction of the human mind, having the capability, property, or responsibility of sending a human to its downfall. To remove one thing, to detach that thing, divorce that thing from another of the same with which it is in union, is to cause the descent of human civilization as a whole. So this is what you do. Watch us, us, decay, break, fall, without a rise. For pleasure? For pain is the only emotion willing to lend itself to resulting in your smiles, your meaningless smiles. And you strip us down, bare, uncovered, sad, let down, dead. And you smile and writhe your stainless steel teeth and sip the chocolatey heat-corrupted liquid in those styrofoam cups you find daily happiness in. Put your dependence in a poison-filled cup and drink its innards. Take us from those we call our friends, those we love. Set us apart from them and laugh a corrosive laugh in our ears. Watch the abrasive, stinging acid burn the surface of our flesh. Watch the innocence flake off of our naive ears. Watch us die. Leave us there, in the cold, wet ground, crying, screaming, gasping for any stimulation of heat, and use it for your own comfort. Hold your blood-soaked hands behind your backs and play that game you find so amusing. And watch our lives turn to ash, those ashes finding a haven in your hot masses of daily energy in styrofoam cups. Let our ruined existences corrupt your own now, as you unknowingly indulge it, so we finally watch you all turn to ash for brains. Let your head split down the middle, your once lively coordinating centers of sensation becoming an intellectual failure. Let yourselves feel what we have. Let your styrofoam cups be recycled for other villains to use them for their own sick daily pleasure as they burn their victims before our blood-red eyes. Hold their hands behind their backs and pretend play with each other until their minds fade away with the giant garbage disposal of society.
And then it happens. We open up our hearts, and the love is a painful pleasure that we learn to crave and desire. We love the idea of love and everything that comes along with it. There comes a point, though, between the tears and the kisses, and the feeling of two separate hearts learning to beat together, when even though you've essentially got it all, you feel empty. Eventually that emptiness starts to take over your mind and warps your biggest fears and insecurities, so that instead of being stuck in the back of your mind, they're right up front, taunting and haunting you every day of every hour, of every minute, of every second. Being with your heart open and your fears at the front lines is a dangerous combination. Being in love brings a lot of emotions, which fear has the potential to crush. So your guard is up. The love is slowly winding down to nothing, and it's nobody's fault but your own. But you can't admit that to yourself. That person that you love so much, they're slowly losing patience with you. You are constantly accusing them of hating you and always fearful that you're not wanted. Because now the love is there. It will always be there. But the fear is taken over, masking all the great things that love can bring. And eventually, you stand alone.
How the world looks at midnight, with aching feet and lonely hands. I wake up to stale lipstick smeared across white sheets. I am becoming a stain on something pure, taking something fresh and new, and leaving an ugly mark, to remind the world of me. I can feel the aches that have settled in my bones, quite contentedly, bringing their malaise, their obnoxious children, loathing. Inside of me is something decaying, and I will not find it, lest I pull myself apart. I never told you last night that I cannot sleep for the spasms that rack the body you have come to worship. They're shivers of fear and of loneliness, of cups of tea while the world falls apart, of cigarettes on the sidewalk while your family leaves you for sun. I am everything that deconstructs. I am analysis and contemplation. I am the theory behind the art that takes away everything you found beautiful to begin with. No one will watch as I diminish, finding lint on couches and photographs without my broken smile.
Hey guys, it's Colin. Thanks so much for watching. This video project took me a long time to film and edit, and I would love if you could take the time to share and like this video. Thanks.